Thank you for joining us for this, our third webinar from the strategy team at Affiliate Window. We're going to cover off a couple of separate topics today. The first is a recap that I'm going to give of a presentation at a recent event at the IAB, and then Matt will present on some new insights that we're making available to everyone through our business intelligence tool, Tableau. If you want to ask any questions, you can do so in the right-hand side of the Google Hangout, and we'll answer any at the end of the session. Also, remember this webinar will be saved to YouTube, so you can access any of the content again. So without further ado, let's start. So this is a presentation that was given at the recent performance marketing seminar held at the IAB's offices last month. The event was an opportunity for companies engaged in the performance marketing industries, broadly covering affiliate, lead generation, and some retargeting, to talk about how they're supporting advertisers' wider efforts to target consumers. From an affiliate window perspective, we wanted to look beyond the last click model that we still work to and showcase how affiliates support brand efforts in many different ways that our commercial model doesn't always recognize. There's a huge opportunity to explore the benefits that the channel can offer beyond sales on a spreadsheet, and the presentation is part of our wider network efforts to reshape the industry, something we're committed to doing in 2015 and beyond. With that in mind, let's look at what we'll cover in the presentation. So we'll cover off the consequence of last click CPA and how we often don't measure the halo effect of the channel, and if we did, what that would be worth. We'll look at the concept of influence and how it is starting to gain acceptance in certain quarters as an additional metric to measure. Then we'll talk about whether last click CPA is still fit for purpose and how a broad church channel such as affiliate marketing can still be overwhelmingly defined by the commercial model rather than the activity that encompasses it. Then we'll consider what the implications for last click CPA and affiliate traffic are in light of the rapid and exponential rise of mobile, or more specifically smartphone traffic. And then finally, we'll look at some other ways of measuring beyond last click. For those of you who have listened to our previous webinars available on the Affiliate Window YouTube channel, this slide may be familiar. It's one we use to show a typical consumer path to purchase, with broad, less defined early funnel activity becoming more and more defined as the consumer moves towards the purchase. The sale on the right-hand side is a crowded place for affiliate marketers, and that isn't any particular surprise. It's this area that affiliates have to be present in to typically receive any financial or indeed general recognition for their contribution. It also means that while affiliates have become expert converters, consider that some cashback conversion rates can hit 50% click to sale, for example. Those affiliates who focused on content first, monetization later, are potentially trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. Another way of looking at what I mean is when we consider what Affiliate Window affiliates drove in 2014. 6.4 billion impressions, 656 million clicks, and almost 32 million sales. In other words, 21 clicks for every sale and in excess of 200 impressions. None of this activity that drives a sale, or at the very least has some influence or impact on a sale, is rewarded. That is the nature of our industry, and the performance element of our channel, only paying for sales, is the part that has made us so attractive, encouraging more and more advertisers to invest in their campaigns. But we also need to recognize that the very affiliates that brands want to make up the long tail of their campaigns do not necessarily sit comfortably within the traditional cost per acquisition model. So with that in mind, what additional metrics should we consider? Well, that depends on what information we gather. Let's consider what is traditionally captured by affiliate networks versus what is captured more widely. In channel, we know that typically affiliate sales are quite standalone. Around 4 in every 5 only involve one affiliate. Matt's going to cover off more of that a little bit later. But we also know that certain affiliate types, such as cashback, skew this. And there are differences between affiliate and sector. Price comparison and bloggers are two such categories who are more likely to be early funnel and therefore may find more of their traffic overwritten. As a practical takeaway, it's therefore important to interrogate your affiliate data line by line. Some of the reports that Matt will mention at the end of the webinar will help our clients do that. Secondly, let's consider out-of-channel information. So this is the information that incorporates all the other channels that an advertiser may be working with. One of the challenges for affiliate networks is to encourage advertisers to share this with them. One of the benefits of some of the new affiliate window technology that we've launched this year is that we actually capture a great deal of this information in the background. So it sits within our database anyway and allows us to carry out wider influence pieces around what affiliate activity, how affiliate activity impacts or is impacted by other digital channels. It's certainly true, however, that affiliates generally don't see this info, and if they did, they would see how significant their traffic is in terms of it being overwritten. Now, for channels whereby you're buying the traffic, clicks, impressions, this obviously matters less because they may be impacted from an attribution point of view, but the payment for their contribution still has to be made. Affiliates obviously don't benefit in the same way, again, being positioned around the sale. Therefore, allow your affiliate network to track this activity and carry out their own analysis in conjunction with you. Let's look at a practical example of how affiliates' influence isn't necessarily reflected in the payment model we use. So Topshop's a fantastic brand. It's beloved of bloggers, and they've really engaged a long tail of great content sites that many programs would dearly love to see on their campaigns. Here I've taken 5 decent sized sites, all who give coverage to Topshop and have engaged readerships who are clearly, as this comment from one of them suggests, influenced by the content. Yet when we consider what percentages of sales those affiliates convert, they have an involvement in within the affiliate channel, we can see that it's about 68%. So it's certainly not awful, it's below our average, and there's an obvious 32% of influence that isn't rewarded on our last click CPA model. But let's consider those same 5 affiliates when we assess all channels. So we look at all of that, the digital data, so paid search, direct to site, display, email, etc. Every other sale that they've been involved in some capacity. So what is the last click contribution then? Well, it's actually just 10%. And to give you some financial context to that, let's scale it up by taking an average order value for Topshop and the 90% of sales that they didn't convert, but they were involved in. And we can see the revenue they influenced in some capacity for which they received no financial reward, £24,500. That's just 1 month's worth of data for 5 content affiliates. It's clear that affiliates are helping to generate significant revenue that our last click CPA model isn't acknowledging. Here's some evidence of what bloggers drive for Topshop from both a branding and awareness point of view. I mentioned that they have a strong blogger base, and that's evident from a lot of these screen grabs. With that in mind, they embarked on a specific project aimed at targeting this important section of their affiliate campaign. Now, they have a specific bloggers hub for content distribution. They offer additional payments that are related to conversions and supplement the CPA. They also issue vouchers for bloggers to purchase clothing from the store that they want to review. And they also involve teams from outside the acquisition teams within Topshop that our account management team will typically work with. So taking that influence piece as a concept, what would be the checklist? What would be the things that we would be looking to measure? Well, we'd need to identify the indicators for success, the additional coverage, the specific product reviews, new product release content. What is it that as a brand you're looking to get from an affiliate beyond just the sale? Then obviously we need to identify those affiliates and select those that are most relevant, but also responsive. We need to identify the influencers. So who are your early funnel affiliates and the most overwritten affiliates? And again, we have reporting within our system that allows you to identify those affiliates. Identify the parameters. How long are you going to run a campaign for? How much are you going to spend? And how many affiliates are you going to involve? Identify what additional coverage is realistic. Identify your communication when speaking to those affiliates. And crucially, you need to identify what success looks like. That needs to be monitored, assessed, and then feed that back into how you optimize and run future campaigns. So who's run these influence campaigns with Affiliate Window beyond Topshop? Some brands here, you can see it's quite fashion focused, as many of the bloggers are focused in this sector, but crafting is also an important part of this whole initiative. When we consider the feedback and results of one of these campaigns, we can see they're generally very well received. In terms of performance, here's a compelling traffic statistic here. For the 15 or so affiliates who were part of this campaign, they were able to double the traffic they sent to the advertiser through increased exposure on their blogs. Orders and revenue also increased, so not only did they receive commission top-ups, but they also received more commission through additional sales. What's more, we actually found their conversion rates improved, so this performed the double whammy of more engaged consumers, buying more and accessing more content. A true win-win, and all for a relatively small increase in the amount of commission. Obviously, it's key that ROI is maintained, but in this instance, we're talking about sites whose performance is critical to the success of the campaign, yet are quite small when compared to the major voucher and cashback companies that they work alongside. Moving on, it's important we consider other challenges that the changing digital landscape is throwing up and how that impacts on how we assess affiliate influence. Mobile's growth has been well documented. Affiliate Window published monthly updates in the strategy newsletter, as well as a full quarterly overview of numerous important mobile, tablet, and smartphone trends. As you can see here, sales generated via tablets and smartphones now stand at just shy of 40% through the network, with smartphones accounting for about 1 in 6. With around 16,000 smartphone sales a day, what impact is that having on the network's performance? Well, an interesting way to look at it is to understand what the ramifications of people surfing and transacting through different devices are. So let's consider some data here from a big high street retailer that we work with. They typically convert at around 14%, as you can see here, via sort of standard desktop traffic. Their average order value, again, you can see here through the same devices, is around about £66, leading to an earnings per click, an indicator for affiliates of the potential earnings that they can expect, of around 40 pence for every click. You can see how that compares to tablet next to it. A lower average order value, a lower conversion rate, leading to a reduced EPC of 26 pence. And then consider smartphones with a much reduced conversion of just 5% click to sale, a lower basket of £40, resulting in just 8 pence for an EPC. I don't think any of us would jump to the obvious conclusion that smartphone interactions are therefore worth 1/5 of a desktop, but the earning potential being much lower indicates that something is happening that we need to acknowledge, and we need to understand whether it is reflected in our last click CPA payments. So let's rewind back to those 5 affiliates I talked about earlier when discussing Topshop. What we do know, in addition to their influence, is that they over-index on mobile. So they generate about a quarter of their sales through handsets compared to the network average of 17%, which is a 50% hike on our standard network figures. We also know that fashion over-indexes on smartphones more generally. So let's look at a couple more examples of affiliates. Here I've identified an affiliate who we work with who has created a number of phone apps that are focused on retail and fashion in particular. One of their apps is for menswear, and for the largest advertiser they promote, in the first 4 months of this year, they generated 46,000 clicks. Now, obviously, as an app, they're only driving sales through tablets and handsets. And here's the split, 78% phone versus 22% tablet. But their conversions are poor. So therefore, is the last click CPA model broken for them? Another example here, I've identified an affiliate who we work with, Fashion Chick, who have created, who's a significant fashion affiliate across Europe. Their traffic for tablet is neck and neck with desktop, but the data shows us that they have a 30% lower click to sale ratio for the largest advertiser that they promote via the network. Again, we have to ask ourselves, is tablet and smartphone traffic created equally with desktops? I think it's really important that we consider our language quite carefully here. I don't think any of us would want to say the traffic is poor to convert if we actually think about what's happening, because it's great content that consumers are interacting with. But what could be critical is the position in the purchase path that these affiliates occupy when placed alongside the devices that traffic is coming from. Is the traffic earlier funnel more persuasive earlier in the chain than a conversion mechanism? We need to think about ourselves as consumers. How do we use our smartphones? Generally quite casually, we pick up, browse, get distracted, put them down and then pick up our handsets again. In other words, we're potentially less considered about what we want to buy and therefore not as close to potentially to the point of sale that the last click CPA model we still work towards is premised on. A recent survey from eMarketer found that American consumers aren't spending less time on desktop, but they are spending considerably more time on tablets and handsets. In fact, the amount of time consumers spend on desktops hasn't changed in the past 5 years at all, but overall online traffic has doubled. The traffic therefore isn't replacement, it's additional. And consequently, we need to piece together how we work with the traffic and how we commercially reward it. If we don't, these critical affiliates who are part of a new wave of mobile-first publishers will find business models outside of the affiliate channel that fairly reward their efforts. So one thing I wanted to end on here, again, you can see, you may have seen us present this data before, is that we're now starting to track across devices, so we can see a sale that may have started on one device and completed on another. Well, we wanted to understand a number of performance metrics, not least whether the path to purchase that affiliates evolved in is more complex when we track that across different devices. We therefore assessed a standard affiliate cookie period for an advertiser who recorded both single device sales and multi-device transactions. The single device sales are indicated by the blue bars, the multi-device by the orange. It's probably fair to say that most of us think that affiliate sales convert within a single day. I mean, Amazon affiliate campaign, for example, only works to a 24-hour click cookie. And when we actually look at the data, we see that many sales through the system are very close from the point of click to the point of conversion. And actually, when we consider sort of standard affiliate tracking that exists amongst most networks, that's still the case. But here you can see that when we actually look at the cross-device piece, so maybe a sale happening on one device but having originated on another, we can see that affiliate influence over a period of time is much greater. Here you can see that almost 3/4 of sales from a single device in the blue happened within 24 hours. But when we looked at early affiliate interactions across multiple platforms, we found that actually just over half were initiated more than 2 weeks after the initial cookie was dropped. Whilst this data is based on a small set of transactions, this potentially transforms how we think about affiliates' ability to influence in the early stages of purchase, again, undermining our traditional perceptions of a last click CPA and how it may not recognize and reward the value that's delivered. So just before I wrap up and hand over to Matt, I wanted to give you an example that references the huge number of impressions that we record as a network. Now, one of our telecoms clients achieved a significant amount of brand exposure via banners, and they knew they probably added to the general number of sales they generated, but couldn't really quantify it. Therefore, they introduced post-view cookies for their banners. They did this in the background so they could monitor the sales and then decide if they wanted to make a commercial decision on whether to pay for the sales. The sales were also tracked in soft click. In other words, they couldn't overwrite the harder action of a click should a sale be recorded when the impression was served. Now, these post-impression sales, it was found, helped contribute 12% additional sales for this one advertiser, the so-called hidden benefit of affiliate marketing. The advertiser decided for select affiliates who acted as brand partners to therefore reward an additional adjusted CPA for these sales. So to sum up, hopefully that gives you a bit of an insight into how affiliates are contributing and influencing beyond the last click CPA model, and how the challenge for us all as an industry is to come up with innovative ways and encourage advertisers to think more creatively about how affiliates are working and are actually generating far more brand awareness than the last click CPA model gives them credit for. So I'm going to hand over to Matt now, who's actually going to pick up on some of those points, and he's actually going to showcase some new reports that we're making available for everybody via our business intelligence tool.
Data plays an integral part in everything that we do here at Affiliate Window. As Kev has mentioned, it's always been our goal to share as much data with our partners as possible. Over the past 5 years, we have pushed out a number of research pieces looking at various topics across the industry. In order to make more use of the data we have access to, we needed to invest in a business intelligence tool that allowed us to visualize and analyze a significant volume of data in an efficient way. 3 years ago, we made the decision to invest into the market-leading business intelligence tool, Tableau, and this has enabled us to share our data more widely. While it's all well and good talking about our data, we were keen to allow our partners to engage with the data to see the results for themselves. By using Tableau, this has been possible, and we've recently launched some interactive reports that everyone can access as long as they have downloaded a free copy of Tableau Reader. I'm just going to spend a bit of time now running through the reports we have built and how you can use them to develop insights around your own activity. This is going to be a live demo, so hopefully everything will go to plan. The first report is the performance by publisher type. Performance statistics have always been an essential part of an affiliate network's offering. As an industry premised on payment for sales, understanding conversions and earnings and return on investment is imperative. When affiliates search for programs to promote, a number of metrics might be considered in order to determine the effort and scope of that promotion. While the commission rate will play a major part, additional factors such as conversion rates or average order values will come into play. These can be highly skewed by a particular promotional type. For example, if there's an over-reliance on cashback sites, conversion rates can seem extremely high. It's important for advertisers to be able to benchmark their performance across all publisher types, and it's equally important for affiliates to understand how they are performing in relation to others within their promotional type. This first tab looks at the split of sales metrics, which can be filtered by the number of sales, revenue, and commission. For the purpose of this, we'll show sales for this report, and it also shows the share of traffic by each promotion type. This is currently set to show the performance across the whole network. We can see here that despite cashback sites being the largest volume driver in terms of sales, their share of traffic is fairly minimal. This is indicative of the strong conversion rates that we come to expect from incentivized traffic. Conversely, content sites have the largest share of traffic, yet their share of sales is just over 10% lower. Does this reiterate the fact that a lot of content site traffic is early funnel? If so, could we look to reward them for their influence based on our payment on assist model? We can use the filters here to see how performance compares across some broader sectors. It is possible to see the differences in finance, retail, telecoms, and travel. It's also possible to break this down further by subsector. For example, we could see how DIY compares to women's wear. DIY has a strong cashback presence, whereas women's wear is more dominated by voucher code activity. For both categories, we see content sites as a significant traffic driver. I'm just going to set these filters back to look across the whole network now before we move on to the next tab. This tab allows you to see the performance metrics by promotional type. So the average order values, conversion rates, and earnings per click. This allows advertisers to benchmark performance across their sector by promotional type, while publishers are able to see how they compare to the average for their type per sector. As expected, incentivized traffic converts at a stronger rate and also has high average order values. Again, as I switch between sectors and subsectors, we're able to see how this changes. If you're interested in finding out how this looks for your particular program, and even by device, please speak to your account contact. The second report that we're going to look at now is on click path analysis. For the past few years, Affiliate Window has been pushing out a significant amount of data on customer journeys within the affiliate channel. This data has served to challenge some of the misconceptions associated with the channel. Typically, it's assumed that within each sale generated through the channel, there are multiple affiliate touchpoints. It's also assumed that where there is a significant amount of overwriting, it is content sites having their cookies overwritten by those of incentivized traffic sources. We've always been keen to share our data on this subject, and for the first time, we've now been able to make some sector insights available for you to see how this looks for yourself. As a caveat, this data only looks at affiliate interactions. It does not take into account any interactions from additional channels or cross-device customer journeys. Although if you are passing back additional channel data through our channel parameter, we're able to look at cross-channel customer journeys in more detail. The tabs at the top help to guide you around the report. The first tab considers how many affiliate interactions each sale has. There is a common perception that each transaction will have multiple affiliate touchpoints. We found this not to be the case. A snapshot across the network shows that typically we see 80 to 90% of sales only have a single affiliate referrer. By using the filter, it's possible to see how this varies by sector. For example, we see more affiliate interactions in fashion retail than we do when looking at electricals. Where we are seeing transactions that have more than one affiliate referrer, it's possible to look at the promotional types driving the final click. Please remember, we're only talking about a minimal share of sales that have more than one affiliate touchpoint here. It's no surprise to see that final click in multi-interaction sales is typically incentivized traffic sources. With their business models primed around converting the customer, it's not surprising to see them convert a high proportion of multi-interaction sales. Again, this will vary by sector and indeed individual advertisers. Following on from this, we can take a look at the promotional types that are typically winning and losing in multi-interaction sales. The winners being the promotional types that are converting, and the losers, those that are being overwritten. For each sector, you can see similar trends, e.g. the promotional types that are winning most often are also losing most often. This is indicative that the overwriting of affiliate cookies is typically amongst the same promotional type. For example, price-conscious savvy shoppers are more likely to compare the offering across 2 voucher code sites before completing their purchase. We can explore this in the next tab. If we select the promotional type as voucher code, on the majority of occasions, it's a voucher code site overwriting another voucher code site. It's typically another voucher code site that's being overwritten. As we click through a few sectors, we can see that while there is some overwriting of content sites, this is typically fairly low. Finally, we can take a look at the impact on average order values, depending on how many affiliate touchpoints there are. While some sectors do not display much variation in average order values, in electronics, we tend to see the more interactions, the higher the order value, peaking at 5 interactions before dropping off again. This is a good indication that for more considered, higher value purchases, there is a lot more research that crosses a number of affiliate sites. Please note that this data is just a small snapshot of what activity across each sector looks like. If you'd like to see how this data looks specifically for your program, this is available on request. When looking at data for an individual program, there will be more detail in terms of the actual affiliates that are impacted, as well as just the crossover and promotional type. By really understanding this data, it's possible to look at additional ways to reward affiliates that are effective at influencing but not converting. The payment on assist model that Kevin mentioned was born out of this data. Please speak to your account contact or drop us an email on strategy@affiliatewindow.com if you're interested in finding out more. While the previous 2 reports are currently available to view on our blog, I also wanted to give you a quick snapshot of a report that is not currently live. This location report takes a snapshot of a day's worth of transactions across the network and plots them by location. As you move the slider across to select the minimum or maximum number of sales for a city, you'll see the number of locations reduce. The larger the dot, the greater the volume of sales. The pie chart in the top right shows the breakdown by device for the network, while the bar chart shows the share of sales for each promotional type. Clicking on a particular device type will update the chart below to show the split of publisher type for that device. For example, we can see that 31.7% of sales are generated by cashback sites when looking across all devices. But if we focus specifically on smartphones, we can see that the largest driver of sales changes to discount code sites, with cashback dropping to a 17% share. By selecting a certain location on the map, we can see what the breakdown is for that particular location. If we take the largest region by sales, London, the charts update to show the split of sales by device, as well as the AOV and share of sales by device for each promotional type. By clicking on a device in the pie chart, the rest of the charts will update to report just on sales through that particular device. For example, if we select smartphone, we can see that discount code sites drive the most sales, but loyalty sites have the highest average order value. By clicking back to the sales snapshot, this will give you the overview for the location that you had previously selected, and you're able to pick another location. The views that we just looked at were for the whole network, but as with the other reports, this can be filtered to show the data by a particular sector. So the first two reports that I ran through are available, and the third one will be available shortly. These are available to everyone, irrespective of whether you are currently working with us. You'll just need to download a free version of Tableau Reader from the Tableau website. Please see the affiliate window blog for more details of the reports. So that's it from us today. Thanks for taking the time to listen in. If you'd like to sign up to receive our monthly newsletter, please email us on strategy@affiliatewindow.com and we can get you signed up to receive that. And please do keep an eye on our blog for details of our next webinar. Thanks very much.